Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Honorable Commissioner and the Permanent Secretary, Office of Environmental Service, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, I welcome you all to the technical review meeting of the environmental impact assessment of the proposed 29-floor residential apartment development in Ikoyi by Kazam Properties 39 Ikoyi Limited. Before we commence this program, I will all enjoin us to rise for the second stanza of the national anthem. You the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and live in just and true. With love the heart-hearted to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you all. May the Lord bless our land. Amen. Once again, I welcome you all to this technical review meeting. Lagos is growing fast, and one of the key metrics of measuring a growing city is housing development. Today, we are witnessing the fast pace by which multi-story building is developing in the states. And as a caring government, a responsible government, the state government decided to put environmental impact assessment as a key component, also making it possible for citizens to take part in this process. And that is why we're having the technical review meeting via Zoom, so that the citizen and residents of Lagos can take part and make comments about the projects. However, on behalf of the Commissioner, the Ministry has set up a technical team that involves both regulator and experts in different fields. Before we start, I would like to invite Mrs. Akitoye, who will be my co-moderator for this program, to anchor the remaining part of the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, before we start, we'd like to introduce the people on our high table, and we'll be starting by introducing the chairman of the program today, who is a retired civil servant but not tired. He also has two feathers to his cap by being the chairman of this program and also an expert on waste management and climate change. He is in person of Mr. Adebodun Toplono. Beside him, closely beside him, is representative of the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, in person of Mrs. Olapade. Far left is an expert on civil engineering and structural engineering. Is Engineer Adebayo Bolade. You are welcome, sir. Also on the high table is our socio-economic expert. He is Dr. Feyi Oni. You are welcome, sir. As the others come in, we will introduce them. Thank you. The next on the agenda is the chairman's remark.
Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to this technical section. Where everybody is aware of our gathering. Yeah?
Sorry, please, there's a mix-up, please. I would like the proponents to also introduce themselves. I'm very sorry. The proponents should introduce themselves and then others will follow. Please, the proponent first, please. To introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Toyiba Ismail, and I am the EIA consultant representing Upper Trends Nigeria Limited. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Architect Oyayemi Agbelu. I represent Incomes Architects.
Good morning. My name is Joe Bako. I'm architect representing architects.
Please, we want everybody to speak loud so that we can hear you.
I am Engineer Ademola Lawal, representing M&E Engineers.
My name is Ahmed Aminu, Mechanical Engineer Consultants.
Engineer Jerome Adeyemi, representing Anko Ogunde and Partners, Structural Engineers.
My name is Engineer Dayo Oluyemi, a fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Structural Engineers, also a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, principal partner, Anko Ogunde and Partners. We are the structural engineers on the project. Thank you.
I'm Engineer Oseni Olanrewaju from Office of Daily Services, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources.
I'm Engineer Tunji Olanipekun, representing Trevi Foundations for the piling works for the project.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kadri Hafiz from the State Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources.
Good morning, my name is Omotoso Otman Akorede, a staff of the EA department.
Everybody, please introduce yourself, all of you.
My name is Mohammed Oluyemisi, a staff of Ministry of Environment and Water Resources.
Fayemi Obisola, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources.
Waleola Arike Oluwatoyin, Ministry of Environment.
My name is Oki Mane, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources.
Olusegun Samsudi, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources.
Lawal Sai, Ministry of Environment.
Taiwo Ayokunleo, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Oshade Inkalupom, staff of Ministry of Environment and Water Resources. Thank you.
My name is Jubril Adisola. I'm a member of the Panel Review Secretariat.
Thank you very much, everybody, for the introduction.
We are waiting for representatives of Lagos State Fire Service. We are also waiting for representatives of Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. When they join us, we'll introduce them accordingly. Thank you. Also, we are expecting representatives of Ikoyi Obalende Local Council Development Area. So when they join, we will introduce them accordingly. Thank you.
Okay. We would like to listen to the chairman's opening remark.
Good morning, everybody, again. I want to sincerely welcome all of you for this technical section of the document we have at hand. I hope the document has been introduced. It's actually an environmental impact assessment of a 29-floor residential apartment development project at plot 339A and 39B, Bodilon Road, Ikoyi, Etiosa Local Government. The reason why we need the key stakeholder, that is from Ikoyi, Etiosa, local government, to join us here. However, we are going to try our best to look at this document and see some of the gaps that we have in that document, and also encourage us to improve on some of it. However, we start wasting time. We are supposed to start at 9, but I think we're here past 10. So we'll quickly look at the document and we will review it for our best of understanding and see why it did not look like what happened to us in Lagos. I'm sure we are all aware of what happened to us in Lagos, the building that collapsed. We don't want this to look like that. The reason why we have to take us through this document again, look at the gap, look at the flaws, and come up with the document that we can all beat our chest that we have for Lagos State government. So you're welcome, and as we go, please try to follow us. And I know that we have some of our erudite scholars, architects within the house, that also assist us. So please feel free to react, ask questions, and where you think we also need to look at, please join us in the review of this document. You're welcome again.
Thank you, sir, for your brief and timely speech. We'll hand over the mic to the representative of the Honorable Commissioner in person of Mrs. Olapade, who will deliver her own speech.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, I welcome you all to this panel review exercise. As we all know that environmental impact assessment is now an environmental management tools that we use. It has become the tools that we use to strike a balance between the between the development and our environment. And essentially, this exercise, the panel review aspect, is one of the process of EIA, and it involves meeting of stakeholders from all fields and project proponents, as well as project affected people, to come to assess the quality of information contained in EIA report of the proposed project. As we always say, all time to time, that this exercise is not to stage a class war between the proponents and the stakeholders, or between to stage a class war to quality of any developmental project in the state, but to refine the quality of the proposed project. And therefore, I will encourage everyone to contribute positively to this exercise, particularly the host community. They should raise any pertinent question that will be of importance to this review, so that the project will be sustainable. So once again, I welcome you all to this panel review. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'll be standing on the existing protocol. Brief on the project AIA for the proposed 29-floor residential apartment development project at plots 39A and 39B Bodilon Road, Ikoyi, Etiosa local government area of Lagos State by Kaizen Properties Bodilon Limited. On the 14th June 2022, Mr. Kaizen Properties 39 Bodilon Limited applied to the Ministry for EIA Environmental Impact Assessment Permit in respect of a 29-floor residential apartment development project at Ikoyi, Etiosa local government area of Lagos State. Following the receipt of the EIA studies terms of reference, TOR, and registration of the project by the proponent, the project site was inspected on Tuesday, 28 June 2022 by officials of the ministry as part of the initial environmental evaluation, IEE, of the proposal. The following were observed at the site during the site verification exercise. The proposed project site is located at plot 39A and 39B, Bodilon Road, Ikoyi, Etiosa local government area of Lagos State. The site is accessible via Alexander and Awolowo roads, which are the principal access roads to the project area. The proposed project land stake covers 5,169.625 square meters of land, and at the time of the inspection, soil testing was carried out on the proposed land to determine the capacity of the land. The proposed project area is a mixed land use comprising of residential abodes, both medium and high-rise building dominating the Ikoyi skyrise, also institutional and commercial development. The proposed project area has several high-rise residential buildings dominating the skylines, and they include Belmont Luxury Apartment building located opposite proposed project, 4 Bodilon Twin Towers, the Ultimate Apartment, Niger Towers, Tarino Towers, Wemabot Towers, Imen Towers, among others. There was no evidence of cultural heritage or archaeological site located within and around the proposed site as at the time of inspection. The EIA study terms of reference was consequently approved by the ministry, and the proponent was directed via a letter dated 19th July 2022 to proceed with the EIA study covering a one-season data gathering in respect of the project, taking into consideration all key and sub-components of the project. The ministry received both hard and soft copies of the project's draft final EIA report from the proponent on the 9th September 2022 for consideration. As part of the consideration of the draft final EIA report, as well as the need to obtain the input of experts and relevant development project approving ministries in Lagos State, the permanent secretary on the 27th September 2022 constituted a 7-member panel to review / examine the adequacy of the draft final EIA report and make recommendations to the ministry for an informed decision on the project EIA, which is holding presently at the LCCI. The panel members include the following: 1 expert each on waste management / climate change, social economics, civil / structural engineering, regulators, which are representatives of the Honorable Commissioners / Permanent Secretaries of the Office of Drainage Services, Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, and the Ministry, and also representative of the host local government. Thank you.
Thank you for the brief about the project. However, we want to acknowledge some of the participants who are joining us via Zoom. Professor Babajide Alowi, acknowledge your presence, sir. Adewi Jerome, Adesoje Abolade, Akim Akinlade, Abrat Olaiton, Bello Shakiru, Shukuma Osipoko, Harry Thomas, Hassan Salute, Olushola Okoya. Thank you all for joining us, especially the residents from Ikoyi. We also appreciate your participation. However, the EIA report is available online. The EIA report is available online. We are expecting your comments and your review. Thank you.
Yes, while the proponents are getting ready, we are at the stage where we are here. The reason why we are here is to listen to the proponents, to justify to us why the project should come to Lagos, all the mitigative measures they have made to make the project sustainable in Lagos State, why the project should not go to Ogun State or Oyo State or Kaduna. That's the reason why we are here. So we want to listen to the proponents now, to present to us what they have concerning the project description, the engineering, and then the EIA studies. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honorable panel of judges, and distinguished audience. My name is Ismail Toiba, and I'm here to do a presentation on the environmental impact assessment for the proposed 29-floor luxury residential apartment project at plot 39A and 39B, Bodilon Road, Ikoyi Community, Etiosa Local Government Area in Lagos State. I'll be guided by the following outline. Lagos State as a mega city. How does it attain this status? This can be seen due to the structural development the state has attained, and this also causes immigration from the rural area to the city. However, due to the influx of people into this city, there are limited resources. An example of the limited resources include the housing facilities. That is why KZ Properties Bodilon 39 Limited intends to develop a 29-floor residential apartment project on a parcel of land measuring about 5,169.625 meters square at plot 39A and 39B, Bodilon Road, Ikoyi, Etiosa Local Government. As part of the regulatory requirements, for every project, an environmental impact assessment is required, and this is to show the baseline situation and to identify the likely impacts, both potential and negative impact, on the immediate environment, human, and the society at large. The EIA included a well-planned visit, sites, field survey, and samples collection, laboratory analysis, and secondary data acquisition from existing reports and publication, as well as derivation of spatially referenced data using GIS and remote sensing technologies. The study covered a spatial boundary of about 500 kilometers radius from the proposed project site. These are the legal and administrative frameworks that binds, These are the legal and administrative frameworks in which are put into consideration for the proposed project. We have the federal laws, the state laws, and also, most importantly, the local government area, Etiosa local government. The benefit of the project. Why are we proposing a 29-floor luxury residential apartment in this part of Lagos? One, creation of employment. There will be creation of employment for both skilled and unskilled labor at different phases of the project. Also, economic growth to boost the local economy. 80% of the materials will be sourced from the country. Also, revenue generation. This is a form of revenue generation for all types of government. We have the federal, the state, the local, through statutory levies, permits, and taxes. Also, there is an adage that says, an idle hand is the devil workshop. With this project, youth will be gainfully engaged and employed, and this will help to reduce crises and crimes. Also, there will be availability of quality housing, which is equipped with the state-of-art ancillary facilities, and also it will be situated in one of the best neighborhoods. The project is valued at about 20 billion naira, and this covers cost of the project design, the geotechnical survey, the construction works, provision of ancillary facilities, and also acquisition of necessary approvals, permits, including the EIA. The proposed project is estimated and designed for a minimum of 60 years only, after which it could be demolished, reconstructed, or converted to other uses. The proposed project location. The project site is located at plot 39A and 39B at the Bodilon Road end of Ikoyi Community, Etiosa Local Government Area of Lagos State, and it lies within the geographical coordinates displayed. And the site is also estimated to be 600 meters southeast of Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge, with the project land intake size of 5,169.625 meters square. This plate 1 shows the view of the project site. Plate 2 shows the site access road, which is the Bodilon Road, and plate 3 shows the view of the project site adjoining the Bodilon Road. The site condition. At the time of the assessment, drilling test is presently carried out to support the piling phase, and also there were no pristine environment currently because the place is already a built-up area. Also, there were no cultural or archaeological objects that were reported during the drilling test of the piling stage. The proposed project description. The project is to develop a state-of-the-art 29-floor luxury building apartment, which will consist of 40 units of 4-bedroom luxury apartments. And the building will also have other features such as swimming pool, a gym facility, spa, mini mart, mini crèche, salon, water treatment room, bar, high-speed elevators. Also, we have parking space for the physically challenged people, and also generator house, basketball and tennis court for sporting activities. The pile design for the building. For the piling stage is where structural foundations are laid, and it includes doing a strength test and also a drilling test. Also, there will be an effluent treatment system. The effluent treatment system is designed to include an efficient effluent system The proposed 29-floor residential apartment is designed to include an efficient effluent treatment system with grease interceptors to be installed in all the kitchen drains to trap oil and grease. Also, after removing the oil and grease, wastewater will be discharged directly into the sewage treatment plant at the basement of the building. Also, there will be a sewage treatment facility because a 29 luxury apartment will generate a lot of sewage. So there is a sewage treatment facilities that will be put in place. Also, there is a water treatment system. 29 luxury apartment will have a lot of inhabitants, so there will be a supply of water through the borehole system. And also, this water treatment system will be in form of cooling cycles, with each cooling water cycles provided with automatic water treatment system that will minimize corrosion, scaling, and microbiological growth. The project implementation phases and activities. We have 4 phases for the project, which are the site preparation or the pre-construction stage, the construction stage, the operational stage, and the decommissioning stage. At the site preparation stage, this also includes the acquisition of regulatory approval such as the EIA, land or site clearing. The construction stage, this is where the electrical works, majorly construction works, take place. While the operational phase is when there will be residents at the building. Also, the commissioning stage is where the building will be removed after 60 years of commissioning. This figure shows the site layout design for the proposed 29-floor building project. This figure shows the site layout design of the proposed 29 building project. And this table shows the floor area and also the parking requirements. This also a table shows how the flats or units will be arranged on the 29 luxury apartment. These are the applicable codes and standards that were put into consideration for the proposed project. Waste generation and management. As earlier stated, there will be 4 phases for this project, and at different phases, there will be waste generated. At the pre-construction stage, Some of the waste generated are paper, sanitary waste, spent oil, sanitary waste, carbon dioxide, and oxide of nitrogen. At the construction phase, we will have cement sludge, spent oils, also gaseous emission. At the operational phase, where people start living, there will be kitchen waste, sanitary waste, and also during decommissioning, removing of all the components of the apartment. Waste management. Casing Properties Bodilon 39 Limited shall take all practical and cost-effective measures to minimize the generation of waste by employing the 4 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, and recovery. And this can be carried out using the following ways: waste stream identification, proper waste categorization, waste segregation, and also recommending good management practice. As Casing Properties Bodilon, as a matter of policy, shall adopt the best waste management practice and contract the Lagos State Management Authorities, LOMA. Manpower requirements. The proposed 29-floor luxury residential apartments will require some manpower at different phases of the project. At the construction stage, they will need 100 meters, 100 workers, while at the operational stage, they will need 20 workers. At the construction phase, the workers are expected to work 5 days a week from Mondays to Friday, while operational phase, workers are expected to work daily in shifts, and they include managers, cleaners, security, and others. Electricity supply and consumption. The electricity will be supplied from the Eco electricity distribution, and also there will be 4 electric generators, 500 kVA, also known as the standby generator, as a backup plan. Project implementation schedule. As earlier stated, the project is designed for a minimum of 60 years only, after which it will be decommissioned. The field studies and results. A one-season field study exercise was undertaken in line with the approved EIA terms of reference by the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources for wet season between Tuesday 26th and Wednesday 27th, July 2022. Secondary data were obtained from approved EIA reports for environmental studies reports that relates to the project and other similar high-rise residential development projects around the area. The field data collection and studies covers air quality, noise level, water quality, soil quality, and socio-economic parameters within the proposed project environment. These are geographical coordinates of the wet season sampling for various environmental attributes. Also, this is a figure showing the satellite imagery that shows the various sampling points. The result of the air quality measurement of the project area. For the air quality, particulate matters, oxide of nitrogen, sulfur oxide, carbon oxide, methane, and others were monitored, and the values were compared with the standards of NESRA, Federal Ministry of Environment, and WHO. And it is seen that the values were lower compared to the standard report. Also, this table shows the noise level measurements at the proposed project area. As shown, it is seen that from the gate to the project site, at the northern first line and southern first line, they are below the prescribed limit, while along the access road to the site, the noise level increased, and this can be attributed to noise from vehicles plying the road, as the place is also a major road to connecting residential apartments. The groundwater assessment was also carried out, and during the groundwater assessment, Salmonella species, Shigella species, and fecal foliforms and heavy metals were all monitored. However, they were not reported. They were not seen. While for the toxic metals, some were observed but in low quality. This table also shows the microbiological parameters of groundwater. The microbiological parameters of total coliform, fecal foliform, and E. coli were all less than 2, indicating that the groundwater resources at the proposed project location have not been contaminated by microbes. The socio-economic studies. Focus group discussions, semi-structured interviews, and key informant interviews, all participatory rural appraisal techniques, were used for the socio-economic data collection. Also, the focus group discussions on the socio-economic and health conditions of the communities were held separately among the various interest groups, which are the clusters of trader groups, the youth, the women group. These are the major stakeholders of the project areas. Also, the use of questionnaires were used, and they were given to respondents, and these respondents were selected through stratified random sampling techniques. Self-administered questionnaires were used for certain respondents who could read and write, while those that couldn't read and write, the interviewer-administered questionnaire techniques were used. The potential negative impact. At the construction phase, the likely negative impacts include impacts on air quality, because there will be movement of vehicles onto the project site, and there will be emission of gases from the equipment and vehicles. So it is likely the project impacts the air quality. Also, impacts on noise level and vibration. As earlier stated, there will be influx of vehicles and machineries onto the project ground. However, some equipment generates a lot of noises during operations. Also, the impacts on geology. Only minimal geological impacts are expected in the construction phase of the project, as there will be no topographic or geologic alteration due to the construction of the proposed housing unit. The landscape is flat, and there was no need for sand filling. The potential positive impacts of the proposed projects. We have the impact on employment, creating employment opportunities for both skilled and unskilled. Impact on the economic growth by boosting the local economy. Impact on housing sector, providing comfortable and affordable housing in the area, in Lagos State. The impact on soil. There will be no much impact on soil because it's only the topmost area that will be involved in the project. Also, the groundwater will not be impacted, as only the topmost area of the earth will be assessed during the construction. Also, the impact on terrestrial ecosystem. As a built-up area, the only terrestrial ecosystem likely seen were grasses and weeds only. The impact on transportation. Because of movement of vehicles and materials to the site, there will be an impact on transportation, causing some traffic along the area. Impact on waste management. During the different phases of the construction, there will be waste generated. And also the impact on public health and safety. The site preparation phase of the project will definitely bring about the movement of different people into the site area, and so there will be on-site HSC officer. Mitigation measures. Impacts on the air quality. To reduce the impacts on air quality, water suppression method will be used to reduce dust. Also, the regular maintaining and servicing of construction equipment that contributes to emission will be implemented. Also, modern and well-maintained equipment and machineries will be used by using the best available technology. Also, movement of men and materials shall be properly coordinated, and appropriate PPE shall be implemented. Also, impacts on the noise level. All equipment are maintained as per manufacturer's recommendation and operated as per original specification. Also, activities associated with high levels of noise will be limited to daylight only. And also, the construction equipment with lower sound level will be used. Appropriate PPE will also be used. Impacts on biodiversity. Casing shall ensure that work areas are clearly marked to prevent clearing or disturbance from the outside area of the work. And areas that are cleared but not used for the project shall be restored and revegetated. Revegetation procedure shall use native species where possible and control of invasive plants, including removal and replacement of existing invasive plants. Impact on the soil and groundwater. Exposed areas of the soil will be revegetated by the casing properties. And also, we will make sure that the hydrocarbons, fuel or lubricants will be properly sealed in storage containers so that there will be no issue of leakage or discharge into the soil and groundwater. Impact on surface water and hydrobiology. Also, declared vegetation or materials will be properly taken into consideration, and the sewage and water management facilities shall be implemented. Spill control and response plans to respond to spills and leaks shall be implemented. Impacts on waste management. An efficient waste management shall be put in place and implemented, and also using the service of using the services of Lagos State Waste Management Authority for proper waste disposal. Workmen injuries and fatalities. First aid and first aiders shall be provided, and also there will be an on-site HSC officer. And medical facilities such as retainer hospitals shall be provided to handle critical medical cases among the workmen on site. The impact on public health, safety and security. The local communities are informed of the project of the activities prior to the commencement of work. Construction contractors are briefed on the socio-cultural norms and sensitivities of the neighboring communities before commencement of work in the area. Construction workers' camp are developed and workforce management protocols that include workforce behavior and interactions with the local community shall be implemented and enforced. Also, a grievance resolution mechanism shall be implemented, and prohibition of unauthorized access to the site shall be maintained. The impact on traffic and transportation. Journey management plan shall be put in place, and also drivers shall ensure that they adhere to the speed limit of less than 40 km per hour, and also the driver's competence shall be assessed. For fire and explosion, casing shall ensure that they put in place leak detection system and automated shutdown system. Also, a dedicated firefighting system designed in accordance with international standards shall be used. Fire prevention system, including the flame arresting devices, hurtling and lightning arrestors shall be put in place. A robust emergency response plan that considers the role of neighboring facilities shall be put in place. Fire alarms and fire safety signatures will also be put in place. The environmental monitoring plan. These are the parameters that are put into consideration during the proposed luxury apartments. We have the air quality, the noise, the groundwater quality, soil quality, and waste management. Conclusion and recommendation. In the light of the detailed description of baseline environmental characteristics of the project area, the following conclusions. We have the proposed luxury apartments will have both potential negative and positive impacts, and also the proposed projects will boost our economic growth as the raw materials will be sourced within the country, And also the environmental impacts are such as noise, air pollution, surface and groundwater may arise from the project during construction will also be monitored adequately. Also, a detailed environmental management plan has been prepared to ensure sustainability of the project. The institutional framework that permits the implementation of the project make provision for monitoring by regulators. This allows for best practice in project implementation and avoidance of environmental mishap. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. But before we go into the next item on the agenda, we would like to introduce one of the panel members who came in while the presentation was going on. He is from ODS and is representing Office of Drainage Services, in person of Engineer Tayo Fagbeku. You are welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. While we wait for the panel chairman and the panelists to ask questions or observation about the presentation and the project, we encourage participants online to send their question via the chat box, or if they want to unmute themselves to ask their questions, we will. Panelists, your questions and comments. Based on the presentation, not on the report now. Presentation is fine. The presentation is okay. You go into the details during.
Yes, one-on-one on each of the themes.
Okay, during the review section. Okay. From the audience.
Mr. Chairman, permit me to start the report. Thank you for the presentation. During the course of the presentation, I have one or two questions that I need to ask. You said you gave overall discussion. And during your presentation, there is no minute of meeting, there is no pictorial evidence. Name of the local community that you engaged with was not mentioned. Then you said you obtained secondary data as a result of the approval of the ministry to do one season sampling. You did not mention the projects you compare your data with in your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, sister. It shows that in your presentation you tell us that during your construction phase, about 100 workers will be working on the site 5 days a week, but you did not tell us when they want to have the call of nature. There is no, you didn't tell us how they are going to do it. So please note. Then the monitoring of your air and noise during the construction is not okay. That one is that's the major. The one that you display for us is the one that is the major one that is before you start any project. That's the okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And I have just one observation. Looking at the presentation, I expect to see the values that were captured during vibration test. That was not displayed. I don't know if you have it in the main report, but I think we went into noise level assessment as well as vibration. I think that should also come up in this presentation. Thank you.
Any other question?
Just one question on the results you displayed for noise level. And looking at the table that you presented, the third to the last column, the second to the last column, and the last column itself, you have the minimum, the maximum, and the average values in that order. Okay. Personally, I expect the average values to be in between the minimum values and the maximum values. But what I saw, what you displayed, all the average values were higher than the maximum values. I was even thinking perhaps maybe there was a mistake. You should have put the maximum where the average in terms of the title. But I try to see if I do the average of what you have as minimum and what you have as average, which I'm now taking as maximum, you won't still have, the average of the two. Right? So I don't know what really transpired there. So you need to look at the table again and probably review the values you have there. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Chola Dukoya. I want to first of all confirm before I ask my question. Is the question majorly for this presentation, or we can ask questions that have to do with EIA generally?
It depends on the question you are asking is on this project. If you have any question that has to do with EIA, you write to the ministry. But if any question is basically on this project and the presentation, because this is for this project. Okay. You can go ahead, sir. We can hear you. Okay, they said, thanks for the presentation. What safety measure do you have in place during the construction activity? That's some of the questions from the people who are online. I think that's the only one we have now.
Any other question? From the panelists, any other? Okay, in the absence of any other questions, we want to go into the next segment of the agenda, which is a tea break. Well, while we go for the tea break, we want to advise the proponent to sit down together and then try to put the questions and then get ready because after the tea break, we want you to answer the questions or comments or observations that were given.
Thank you all. And thank you for joining us for our participants online. While we are on the break section, we have the representative of Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development joining us. Please permit me to introduce Town Planner Risikat Bello, Food Director representing the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. Thank you, ma'am. With her, we also have Town Planner Olabinwo Oyewole. You are welcome, sir. Also with us, representing Lagos State Fire Service and Fire and Safety Service, Builder Yusuf Kende. You are welcome. So based on some of the participants who are online and in view of the recent happening in the state, Some of the participants want the proponents to share more light on some of the structural consideration about the project. Also, some of them wants to know things about the electrical. We have some students who are online, and because this is an iconic project, they want the team to just brief. You know, while we were discussing, it's basically on environment, but some of the citizens really wants to know, they want your team to share more information. So we'll give you just some minutes to just share more information on the basis by which the project was actually designed. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, all other protocol duly observed. I am Engineer Ademola Lawal, and we are the Mechanical and Electrical Services, generally known as Building Services for the project. When you talk about building engineering services, it is basically engineering facilities in the building to make it comfortable and livable. First and foremost, we need lights in buildings, but the unique factor about this building is that we have gone for LED lamps all through. The major example of that is that it does not consume too much electricity and is also more environmentally friendly. Also, we have a fire system. The fire system adopted here is the analog addressable system. The advantage of the analog addressable system is that it takes you exactly to the location of the fire. It is not a zone system whereby it tells you first floor and then you start running from room to room, but it identifies the room.
Recording in progress.
So also we have other facilities like the intercom system. We have the data system. We have the telephone system. The telephone system is integrated with data system in the building. Also, we have other facilities, including, I've talked about fire alarm. We also have lifts for the building. We have 3-number passenger lifts, and we also have one dedicated goods lift for the movement of goods and services. Against lightnings, which is a natural occurrence, the building earthing system is integrated and developed such that in case of lightning strike, we have our prevention system on the roof. And also, I would like to tell you that it is not only the building that is protected, the entire site, even by then we did it, even up to the road is protected from lightning strike. And that goes on like that. It goes on then for the mechanical services. For the air conditioning, we've used a system called VRV system. And the gas we are using is R410. This is very much environmental friendly. Many years ago, some gases were being used like R22. They've been phased out worldwide, and we have latched onto that as well. Also, the building has other facilities like the water treatment plant. We have a borehole, and then we are treating the water for potable water drinking. We also have the sewage treatment plant, which we treat all solid waste, human waste, and then the effluent that will go out is environmentally friendly as well. We also have firefighting, we have sprinkler systems, we also have hose reels, we also have portable extinguishers as well. Other facilities in the building include dry riser, a wet riser system, which the fire people can use. And then all these things are integrated. Also in the building, we have aviation warning light for aircrafts, because it's a tall building, against aviation to warn aviation people that there's a structure there. Generally, all these are integrated to give comfortable living in the building. Thank you. If you have further questions, we'll be able to tell you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to stand on existing protocols. I am Engineer Dayo Oluyemi, a fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Structural Engineers, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and the principal partner of Hancock Ogunde and Partners Limited, who are the consulting civil and structural engineers for this project. This building is 28-story, luxury apartments, 28 floors plus basement plus ground and roof level. The basement level is being used for parking. The ground floor, you have the swimming pool deck, you have the lobby, you have a tennis court. And all the other floors are residential floors. In our design loads consideration, we have dead load, the live load, we have the wind load, and we have the notional load. The national loads comply with BS 811097 plus 3142, and that was considered in the design. Wind load, the wind speed we have used for the design is 42 meters per second. Pile design, the building is sitting on 219 piles, 40 meter to 60 meter depth, deep. And each pile the piles vary from 800 mm diameter to 1,400 mm diameter. And they are all board piles. Trevi Foundations are in charge of the piling works, and they are hereby represented. They are here with us. The pile caps, the depth of the pile caps range from 1 meter to 2.5 meter in depth. And all the suspended floors are post-tensioned slabs, ranging from 240 to 300 mm thick. And the grades of concrete we are going to use, for the foundations, we are using grade 40. For the beams and the slab, we are using grade 40. For the columns and the shear walls and the basement walls, we are using grade 45. Thank you. That's a summary of the structure.
Well, let's have an answer to the question raised earlier so that we can go to the technical section. Thank you.
Okay, starting from the table, the noise level measurement. There was misarrangement in the table, so where initially it was a mean noise level, it's supposed to be maximum noise level. So just the heading. So we have the mean noise level, that is the average on column 4, while the last column is the maximum noise level. Have you checked this? Okay. Also for issue on focus group and the evidences, I have a letter which was given to the landowners and occupants of Bodilon to do a survey of their building. So before the project can be carried out, that is involving them in the project. And also the secondary data, a similar structure which bought a 25-story floor. Their data was also used as the secondary data for this 29-floor building. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we
prepare to go to the technical section.
Yes, thank you. The technical section. But before we go into the technical section, we want to invite the panel chairman to give us a recap of all what we have been doing since in the morning. So,
thank you for this time. Please permit me to sit down. However, it's going to be brief. We had our introduction from this table, the panelists. We tried to introduce ourselves as well as what we're here to do concerning the document that we looked at. The Honorable Commissioner, ably represented by Mrs. Olopade, also gave his remark, the opening remark, and our consultant, led by Mrs. Toybert, gave a review of what the document looked like. That's a brief review. And we are now here we ask questions, and they were able to put a voice to some of those questions, and observations were also raised in our presentation. So now we are going into the technical proper. Before I drop this mic, I want to appreciate the structural engineers for that brief on the project we have, and also the colleague that talked about the lighting, because it's also important we have to have light as well as some ancillaries within the building that are environmental friendly. Like my colleague said, Mr. Alasisi, that it's an iconic project. During my presentation, I said we had a 21 building that collapsed, and over time there are floors that are being put together and for 15-story building. But unfortunately, when this building construction got to the 4th floor, it collapsed. It's still there. But there must have been some issues or concerns during construction that were not put consideration during that construction. So this is an iconic one, and I want to tell you it is a test case for us in Lagos State. If we don't get it right, it will put the state in a bad light. So we really need to look at it, and that you also join us so that we can have a document that any other person that want to come into bring the construction much more than the floors as approved will have a building that fits the ground we place those buildings. Thank you. So we are going to the technical section now, and the representative of the Honorable Commissioner from the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development will give a...
Yes. The first person who will be presenting, maybe I should just give an insight to what the technical section is all about. The technical section involves our panel members. We have sent the report to them. They have reviewed it, and they want to give us the lapses they have found, the observations they have found in the report. And this is to make the report better, for the betterment of the report. So all what they have put together, what we put together today as the lapses, comments, will be sent to the proponents so that they can incorporate it into their report and then send us the final report. This is for the betterment of the report. So the first person I'll be calling on is the representative of the Honorable Commissioner from Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development to give us our comments. You're welcome.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We are so sorry for coming in late. It's not our practice, but because there is an emergency meeting and a visit to my office this morning by the Permanent Secretary and the SA as regard the restructuring that just took place, because my office was merged with my former office for me to run. So we are trying to put things in place. That's why we came in late. On the issue at hand, the environmental impact report on the 29-story building, not 28. On the 29-story building, going by the report sent and the evaluation we carried out, normally the issue of environmental impact report is in place. It's one of the things we recommended after granting approval to buildings. This is a building that has an approved building plan by the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority, and it was duly evaluated by the professionals, both the architect, structural engineer, mechanical and electrical engineer, before the planning permit was granted. And it was also recommended that the applicant should consult an environmentalist to prepare an environmental impact analysis report, which is what he has done and is in place. And being a massive residential building, that is why it requires environmental impact analysis. Yes. And from our evaluation of the report, I would just want to point out that as part of the team, the study team for evaluating this report, or the preparation of the report, I want to recommend that a town planner, architect, and geospatial analysis, as well as safety commission, should be involved. And also, the report, there is need to address the issue of compliance with energy efficiency code. From the ministry, we advise that such building should also be green initiative. There should be more of green so that we can save our environment. And as well, during the construction, the proponent or the contractor should ensure the environment is well done during the construction, so that it will reduce it will reduce environmental pollution during construction. And lastly, there is need for stage-by-stage certification. It's very, very important. The proponent should write a letter to LAPCA, Lagos State Building Control Agency. Whenever they want to commence the construction, you ensure you write to LAPCA, informing LAPCA of your intention to commence construction, and as well as the material testing of all the components that will be used on site is very, very paramount to this project. Thank you very much.
Office of Drainage Services is next. Please, your comments, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have gone through the report, and we noticed that there are some aspects that are not in the report concerning drainage issues. Nowadays in Lagos State, we have this idea about rainfall harvesting. We call it sustainable urban drainage system, which shall be put in place later on in future. So in order to do this, our thought is that all runoff from that development must stay inside the development. Why? You notice that we do spend a lot of money annually on drainage construction. Like, for example, if we do our hydraulic studies and we design a drainage, say 1 meter by 1 meter drainage, later on we find out that the environment will have been built up. You know, Lagos State develops every day. And that 1 by 1 drainage may not be adequate enough to or have much capacity for the runoff in that particular area. So the idea is that that kind of structure must be built in such a way that it will have a water retaining structure, like say borehole or retention area, and the pavement must be sloped toward that retention area, so that minimal or none of the runoff will go to the outside drain. Thank you.
Hold on, please.
Sorry, I forgot to add one or two things. The proponent should also ensure all its insurance policy is drawn, and as well as indemnity letter indemnifying the construction and the engineer on site that will do the construction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, we want to ask the representative of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Services here. No.
Good morning, everybody. I also want to say I'm sorry for coming late. I actually came to represent my boss, who was supposed to be here this morning, but an emergency occurred and he had to attend to it. So he had gone through the report and he had written out all his necessary observation, and he has promised to submit it to Ministry of Environment as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I hope that will be done soon, so that we can wrap up the review of this document. Then the representative of the council, Ikoyi Obalende local, they are not here. Okay. Then I would like to call on the socio-economic expert, Dr. Faye Oni, to please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Like others on the table have spoken, I have equally gone through the report, and I did that thoroughly, though some aspects are beyond my own comprehension, and I've been trying to talk with some others, my warriors here, who are experts, who are engineers. I sat with them initially there, and they gave me a good understanding of the nature of the project. But for the purpose of this exercise, I just want to pick on a few things which I believe, after now, I disappointed Mr. Lasisi the other time. I didn't turn out my report, but I felt if there is a secretariat here, they should tease out the issues that we discuss here. Okay, so, sir, first, I'll go outside my domain. I've spoken with Mr. Lasisi, but I just want to inform the experts here who are doing the presentation that their climatic factors, meteorological factors, do not add up. They do not. I'm not embarrassing you. I'm just telling you the truth, because an EIA is an international document. It's a reference point that somebody from Ghana will pick up tomorrow when they are doing their own work. Because I'll tell you the truth, I argued with an engineer there, Engineer Oluyemi, that though the Ministry of Environment, Federal Ministry of Environment supersedes the Lagos State Ministry of Environment, but Lagos State Ministry of Environment sets the pace for the country. That's just the truth. So, sir, you'll permit me, sir, just a few comments. One, I read through the report, and On transport, I just want to touch on a few issues on the socio-economics of the area. On transport development and services, obviously there will be delays. And when the report was written and whatever data they took, I don't think they did traffic counts during journey to work, that's commuting to work and back, commuting to work and return. So they need to do some traffic surveys on commuters. So some socioeconomic questionnaires should be developed to ask the commuters what the situation is for now, because it's a baseline study. And they should be able to project into the future what the impact is. Though it's difficult at this stage to tell us what, we can only discuss what the necessary impacts will be. But if we have an idea that on Bodilon, between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., this is the amount of buses that flows into, that comes out, personal commuting, and others. We need to get that figures right. It's very important, and I know it's something they can do. Secondly, sir, I want to talk about the population. The other aspects were clearly defined in the report, but I hope there was a thorough job done, and I pray that the management initiatives that they wrote about would work, because there is no way that when the project commences, that it will not seriously impact on the traffic. You might say that Ikoyi, there are numerous access points, but then that's in the book. Lagos traffic defies logic. It has to be monitored regularly. Then let me go to population. I read about the population as well. There are some conflicting figures, and I would expect that for a project like this, that the micro-environment should be zeroed in upon. So I expected more analysis on the local population. They gave the figures for the whole state, which is good, but it's beyond that. I think there is an Ikoyi local government development something. They should give us the dynamics of the population there, such as for the houses on the main road. They should tell us for each house the number of people per household and the nature of their community. That's very important. Then they should emphasize on the population density of the area, because it's not enough to say Lagos State is the most densely populated state in Nigeria. It has a population density. We have a population density, but what is the population density for the study area? Not the single building, but the environment, and that's why it's called an environmental impact assessment. We want to know the population study, the number of people per square kilometer. Sir, when I was growing up, Ikoyi was sparsely populated, and people moving into Ikoyi and coming out of Ikoyi were very few and far between. You don't have business there, and if you are not loaded, sir, you don't go to Ikoyi. But it's a different kettle of fish now. And we have a state in which the socioeconomic dynamics have changed. You have young boys without a job, and they drive into Ikoyi and out, because it's a status symbol to be seen drinking or something around the neighborhood. So we need to get such information as well. Okay. Then I said we should zero in on the project area, then the population. Then we want to know, if we know the population for now, we should be able to project what the population will be like in 50 years' time. Understanding the dynamics, such changes in population helps us to plan for so many reasons. The sewage management, electricity supply, the water supply. Because even Ikoyi now, when I knew Ikoyi, there was water from the government. But now, there are local initiatives, sir, for groundwater development. It impacts on the environment. And for a project, 29-story building, and the number of households that will be there, I shudder to think what will happen and how it will impact on the local water supply. So let's put that into consideration as well. It will heavily rely on groundwater, and we should think of alternatives anyway. Then I went as well into talking about the education. In terms of it, I've read what you have written there. If we are to go by the education status of Ikoyi, where the project is cited, I'm a teacher, I can speak to that. Where the project is going to be cited, the information on population, the information on education, and associated variables are very encouraging because it's a high-class residential area, and we expect the best. But Nigeria is an area that defies all the odds. If I have money, I'll have a building in Ikoyi. But I won't want to think like a pedestrian. I'll regulate the inflow of population into my own apartment. But then again, the youths of today, that's why we have to think and project into the future. They don't think that way. So you have to do some background socioeconomic understanding of the education system, of the education parameter you're talking about. Then on pollution, definitely there are pollution. I've been monitoring the population data for Nigeria recently, and it's something that is common. You see it on CNN, Copernicus, something. It's not been very encouraging, but for it's a high-class residential area, but it is fast changing status because the density of the population is increasing by the day. So the population has the tendency to increase as well. So it's going to impact on the environment. And this augacity next to me said something about the drainage. It's very, very important. There is no way you can talk about the socioeconomic status of an area without considering such key and germane element as water flow within the system. It's sad that we're beginning to experience a lot of flooding along that axis too. It's going to be more. It's going to be more. There is climate change. Climate change is going to increase the frequency of extreme climatic events. But then again, the attitude, the ways of living and livelihood of the people, the way they respond to things, and the role of the Ministry of Environment in monitoring will do a lot in correcting whatever adverse consequences will come from the drainage issue. I promise this time, Mr. Lasisi, you'll get your report in details. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Oni. Well, the civil structural engineer expert, okay, please, on your time.
Thank you, sir, and well done. I'll first ask a question. What is the specific HVAC system functions was adopted on this project? If we said a central HVAC system function is adopted, how do you intend to manage major maintenance concerning without subjecting the entire facility to a severe heat?
Thank you. Not all.
So just note it. So, and the second part I would say is about the safety of the worker on the site, because most times not all the worker on site understand safety procedure. So from time to time, let a safety officer that know what is doing be positioned on the site. Thank you.
All right, sir. Mr. Panel Chairman. Yeah, I have just a few comments here from the Secretariat on the review of the draft EIA report. The very first one, there's this site layout design of the proposed project, the 29-floor building project, presented in figure 3.5 on page 37. The information contained in that site layout is not clear at all. Nothing is readable in it. So I feel we should have something that is clearer and more representative of the proposed project. Okay. Then on page 55, under drainage system, you mentioned there that the ground of the building premises shall be well paved with stamped concrete to allow smooth draining of stormwater to the existing secondary drainage system outside the project site. However, we are of the considered opinion that taking into cognizance the nature of that location, so much water available, you can, go for interlocking paving stones, which can allow percolation of water into the soil, and that is to reduce the volume of water getting into the hydraulic facility and the water which eventually gets into the water body. All right. Okay. Now to the monitoring activities carried out. Under the methodology and determination of parameters, the sampling site that you monitored, the factors you considered identifying those sampling sites, one of them you said is determining the upwind and the downwind direction. Now my question is that the only factor you considered getting your site, getting those sampling sites? Because I know for sure that there are other, considerations, factors that should be looked into getting a good and representative sampling site for air quality monitoring. One of that is avoiding obstruction. Okay, in the part of the predominant wind direction. Did you put this into consideration while you were selecting your sampling site for monitoring, air quality monitoring? Then, also very important, I need to make comment about this. On table 4.4, where you provided the results for air quality measurement. At the end of that table, I think the last row where you provided the standards, I must not keep quiet about this. For the particulate matter of different sizes, 1.0 microns, 2.0 microns, 7.0 microns, 10.0 microns, you provided the same standard for all of them. PM1 is 0.250 milligram per m cube. PM2.5 is 0.250 milligram per m cube. The same thing for 7, 1, and 10. I don't understand. And if we are to convert that to microgram per m cube, that's about 250 microgram per m cube. That's quite high. I'm sure it can't be for PM2.5, 250 microgram per m cube. Then number 2, you should let us know these standards. Are you talking about daily standards or annual standards? I want to believe you meant daily standards. So for knowledge sharing sake, I'm telling you for free that the World Health Organization standard for PM2.5 is 0.025 milligram per m cube, not 0.250, 25 microgram per m cube and not 250 microgram per m cube. And for 10, it is 50 microgram per m cube. Daily standards. And if you now compare this real, the actual standards with the values you got, then you come to realize that at some of the locations, if not most of the locations, the values you recorded exceeded the standards. But in your own interpretation of the values you got, comparing those values with 0.250 that you quoted, you said all the values that you obtained on the field were within the standard, which is not actually correct, which is not correct. So that should be looked into and corrected, and should be corrected. Then lastly, I've talked about this when you made your presentation the other time. So that should be also, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Well, I want to believe all these observations or queries, questions were noted. so that you have it better in the report we're going to present again. However, I want to say on waste management, especially water use, it's a massive project. About 40 people are going to be in 40 households are going to be in that building, and there's that tendency for people to increase in number. An example is you have husband and wife, or you have 4 children, and sometimes it exceeds that number. You are looking at future plan and all that. Just imagine that you have people that will come in, maybe aunties, cousins, and other ones to live there. So there will be a massive volume of water that will be used. So look at the modern way of managing such water and what control we want to put in place. There are areas where we have water harvesting. It's not every water that is drawn from the borehole or from the groundwater. How we without wet flowers or wash cars, do some other things within the building that you want to throw out. That will be a waste of water. Now, people have been asked to pay for water that you abstract from the deep well, because our groundwater is already being contaminated. If you understand what I mean by the groundwater, not the one that you just bring from your shallow well, the one that comes out from the groundwater. The groundwater recharge is experiencing that in Lagos. And what will happen? So you need to look at that. If it is not controlled by having a water harvester where you reuse most of the water that you abstract from that. If you dig a borehole now, Lagos State will come, knock your door, and give you a bill. I think it's how many gallons? 300 that is free now that you can use. But if you take in much more than that, you have a problem with the state. So don't say I dug my borehole and Lagos State did not give me money to put machine. It is one of the minerals that we have. It's a resource in Lagos State. So I think you should look at that. I think water harvesting is one of it. Then even rain. You can collect water because flooding is happening in that area now. Like Dr. Oni said, there's flooding, and these are areas where we could minimize some of this climatic concern. Then our experts on structural said something about safety of the workers. Not all of them understand the safety rules. There should be daily safety drills for workers as well as visitors. I think the normal balance is safety moments. When they get to the office, try to tell them what it involves. Even visitors that visit sites during construction, let them know what it is. You can target safety moments, maybe 5 minutes, so that they don't waste all day having to go through the drills. Safety moments, so that they know what it is during construction, even during the maintenance. Let them understand what it means. Then lastly, I think I want to say here that your secondary data that was captured for a 25-story building within that area, you said it's from Ghana report. Maybe I didn't hear that aspect very well. However, maybe you should let us know the building, the AIA that was used,
It's in the same road.
is on the same road. Okay. So, however, maybe you should let us know during when you are reacting to our questions. And I also think the concern for vibration should tell us, because the fact that a building is on the same road will have different results in terms of vibration when you are checking the vibration. And when you are looking at noise during construction, what will happen to the people around that place in terms of vibration? So you should be able to respond to that to us. However, I did not see the results for vibration check in that report. You should look at that. It's a big building, and anything can happen. And currently, we're still looking at what happened to the 21-story building that collapsed. I strongly want to say that the building was not subjected to an EIA, but however, something must have happened. Yes. And we don't want this project to result to that crisis. Thank you so much. And I think you are ready for our comments and concerns. Okay, hold on, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to chip in on the method that the proponent want to employ in treatment of human waste. That Magnify project, you have to tell us in your report which type of method you want to use, is it chemical or biological, for treatment of that human waste, especially human waste. We need to know. Thank you.
I just to recommend or advise that EIAs like this, the professionals that work on each aspect of the component of the EIA should give a sign off that will be attached to the EIA. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Thank you very much.
I want to clear an issue here. The EIA has so many acronyms, but for this sector, we have the AIA, as she has rightly mentioned, for impact analysis that is looked at, and there is also an EIA for environmental impact assessment that look at most of this concern at species level, at micro level. So I want to believe the consultant is clear, because she posted that on our table from our office, an environmentalist was asked to carry out an environmental impact assessment. Impact assessment. But there is also from our table looking at environmental impact analysis. So I want us to understand this difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I also want to add to what you said, and based on the comments by some of the citizens online, and probably make a clarification on the two. The Lagos State Building Control Regulations in the states says any building that is going to be for commercial, industrial purpose must do an environmental impact assessment. Not only impact analysis that is referred to by example. But most proponents them because when they want to submit their projects, because most proponents, when they want to submit their project, they only refer it to the physical planning aspect. So they are only aware about the analysis, not about the environmental impact assessment. So this is calling on all developers, even stakeholders within, if a building is coming up, there is need for citizens to let regulatory agencies, most especially Ministry of Environment, that is why we are calling for citizen participation in here, and that's why we are doing this project online. We want citizens to be part of it. Throughout the world, citizen participation in environmental impact assessment is key. It's key. So, and that's why we want to make it clear. You can do a 3-story building, 2-story building, and just do impact analysis. But for a building like 20-story, 30-story building, analysis is not involved. You need a whole assessment. So, and that is it. And in Nigeria, the environmental impact assessment law make guidelines to which it is. So, she said, coming up with all the people to do the sign off. That is why we set up a panelist of experts. That's what the law in Nigeria recommend. There will be a panel of experts, and we are to just, the report is not graded alone. We are not just here to grade the report. That is why input from all the experts will be put together and sent to the consultant, so that the report will be something that even as a country we will be proud of. And that's why we want the proponents, the team, to shed more light. If we just read the report, most all the structural integrity and everything the mechanical team tells us will not make any meaning, most especially to the citizen. Because now everybody is aggressive of tall building in Lagos State. No, not all buildings will fall. UBA building has been in CMS for over 15 years, and there's no problem. There are buildings in VI that has been there for past 10 years. So not that we cannot do tall buildings in Lagos. We can do tall buildings, but it's just to put the confidence back into the citizen. And that is why the ministry is doing this kind of thing and getting the citizen involved. Thank you.
Sorry, we have come to the end of our second segment of the program, which is the technical section. So we expect the proponent to respond accordingly to all the comments, observations, and lapses.
Sorry, before the proponent responds to the comment and observation made, you see, this is why the ministry called for this panel review meeting, to look at the report holistically. Every comment you had there or observation is just to enhance the quality of that report and to ensure that the project is carried out in a sustainable manner. And during the presentation, I also saw in the report, we are going to drill about 219 bore pipes to about to between 40 and a 60-meter depth. You are going to have 3 elevators that is going to be running consistently for good 60 years. Imagine, I will never pray that we will have any building collapse in the state. And for us not to have it, we have a role to play. You have done this report, but we won't end there. It doesn't take anything from the ministry to do this report, to carry out the review in our office there. But the ministry has gone beyond that to invite these erudite panelists to look at the reports and just ask you where are the gaps so that you can close them. So see the comments in good faith. See it. Nobody is there to insurance your report or to insurance your project. We need that project in the state because the world is going vertical. I've not been to Cairo, but most of our colleagues that have been to Cairo, every building in Cairo is vertical now. We need that in Lagos State to maximize the footprint we have. We don't have land, all we have is water. Please, we need to be on deck of our jobs so that we never witness our building collapse in the state again, please. So you can now make your response.
Thank you all for the comments and observation. Actually, I'm very happy for the observation raised, and I and my team, we are going to look into it and incorporate it in our final report that will be submitted. And we also hope to have a building that is sustainable and free of pollution. Thank you.
Good afternoon, once more, good afternoon. Concerning the comments on the visa, I want to make a clarification. We did not say we are using a central system, sir. We are using a VRV system. And in each apartment, you have 2 outdoor units and it's ducted in. So, each apartment has its own AC system. It's not centralized. So, and you have 2 outdoor units per unit. The clarification I quickly want to make. So in terms of servicing, it's going to be serviced per apartment. So you don't have anything centralized when it comes to AC. Thank you very much.
Please, let's give the proponent a round of applause again. Next on the agenda is the panel chairman's closing remark.
Thank you. You want to make a... Okay, please, before I do that, I want her to...
Sorry that I'm taking your time. On my last comment, why I'm saying this is that I think because the report is being prepared by a private consultant, and they should be ready to take every responsibility about this. That's why I said there should be a sign-off. And for we being here, we are government officers, we are not supposed to be held responsible for what they did. They are supposed to be held responsible for their negligence or whatever in any form, which I pray it will not happen. But we should have a sign-off from them that they participated in this report and they are okay with in every other form. And apart from that, we also have a planning technical report, physical planning technical report that we normally subject applicants to prepare in deep cases. And in some cases lower, and in some land uses lower than this. It depends, we have categories. So we have a planning technical report that they will prepare. We also have land use report, land use analysis report, that's LUPA. We just started that last year. I'm sure this project has not prepared that. And that's why I said, if they have other teams, all the teams, the town planner, architect, spatial analysis, every professional will be able to evaluate what is on ground and ensure everything is in order. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And I want to sincerely thank every member on this side. And also say we appreciate your various comments and reports and concerns about having a sustainable building in Lagos State. Like I said, it's an iconic one, and we also have from our online. I think Mr. Lasisi told us some of them. Please, can you call Mr. Lasisi? I want to believe that some of our erudite scholars too, from like Professor Law and all that, came up with their own concerns. So I will just wrap it up here that you should see every comment as an improvement to that document you are giving us. Because, like we said, several people will want to see it. EIA is a world standard document. And I want you to see it as such. It is not just for Lagos State. There are other concerns groups that don't live in Lagos, but they have influence in Lagos. So, like I said in one of our meetings, that there are 4 quadrants of stakeholders engagement. You look at the focus group, and you have told us that there are other several means of getting from the stakeholders. That is what the people will say about the building. Because of what happened in the last, and some lives were lost, people are looking out. But we don't want to give a glass ceiling to people having projects in Lagos State. Everything is going vertical now because we're trying to manage the space. We have less land space, and we want to maximize the development in the state. Like in one of the cardinals, that is the economy of Lagos State. In fact, I want to believe is the third, not the whole Nigeria, in Africa. So we are going there, and we don't want to put a glass ceiling to that development. So thank you very much for this section, and we want to ask that we come up for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
The vote of thanks will be taken by Mr. Jibril.
Thank you so much. We thank the panel members for seeing us the way we are and honoring this invitation. And we are optimistic that when we call you next time, you will always honor us. So thank you, ma. And to the audience here, we also thank you for taking your time out to participate in this review exercise. The proponent, just like we have said, the comments should be taken in good faith and see it as a way forward in the implementation of your project here. So the consultants, you have seen where the weaknesses are in the report, and you have also seen where you have done very well. So you are to improve on those areas that they have identified here. Just like we have said the other time, we are not condemning the reports here, but we are only making sure that you did the best for this state, being the center of excellence in this state. The chairman of the panel, or Dr. Feyi, said something the other time that Lagos State set the pace in this country. I remember some 3 years ago, Anambra State government sent representative to the State Ministry of the Environment, where I work in, to come and learn how we draft environmental policy. And I'm happy to tell you that I was part of that team. I trained Anambra State government team on that. So it also shows that Lagos State has been setting pace in the development of this country. So we thank you all for your participation here. And we will call, when else we call you, we'd like to see you again. Thank you.
We have come to the end of the section C of the agenda of the program. The next section is the closed door section. This closed door section will consist of our panel members and the secretariat, who will now judge the reports based on what they have read and how they see the report. So we want to excuse others. We relieve you to go and have your lunch while the regulators and then the secretariats brainstorm on the report and then grade the report.
We want to add to this. Madam Director from Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, we know that you are a very busy woman, but please, we still want to take part of your time here. We are going to the critical stage of this report now, which involves the final advice to be recommended by this panel to the ministry. Please, just give us some of your time. We'll make it snappy. So every other person leave except the member of staff and the head of Department of Environmental Assessment Department. I just requested me, subject to the permission of chairman, that member of staff in the Environmental Assessment Department should wait behind and see the proceeding of the closed door session, sir.